Good day, friends. I want to talk to you today about how God is saying, your waiting is over. Get ready for a major shift. Some of you have been believing, praying, standing in faith, waiting for things to change, for doors to open, for the right people to come into your life, and I believe this is your season. God is saying the delay is over, the breakthrough is coming, and what you've been praying for is about to show up. Maybe you've been waiting on healing, waiting on a promotion, waiting for a dream to come to pass. It seems like nothing is happening, like you're stuck in a season of waiting. But let me remind you, God is not limited by time. He doesn't need years to do what He can accomplish in a moment. In an instant, He can shift things in your favor. You've been faithful. You didn't give up. You kept doing the right thing. Now get ready, God is about to launch you into a new level. The promotion, the breakthrough, the relationship, the opportunity, it's closer than you think. I want to encourage you today because some of you have been in a season of waiting. You've been believing, praying, standing in faith, doing everything you know to do, and yet it seems like nothing is changing. You've been waiting for that door to open, waiting for that healing, waiting for that opportunity. And if you're not careful, you can start to think, maybe it's never going to happen. Maybe this is just how my life is always going to be. But I want to remind you, your waiting is not wasted. It's preparation. God is not just making you wait for no reason. He's not keeping you from your dreams, your breakthrough, or your destiny just to test your patience. No, every moment you've been waiting, God has been working. He's been aligning the right people, setting up the right opportunities, putting together the right circumstances, so that when the time is right, everything falls into place perfectly. See, God is not just concerned about bringing you into the blessing, He's also concerned about getting you ready for it. Sometimes we think we're ready when we're not. We think we can handle the promotion, handle the influence, handle the increase. But God, in His infinite wisdom, sees the full picture. He knows what's up ahead. He knows what we're going to need, what battles we'll face, what strength we'll require to sustain the blessing. And so He takes us through a season of preparation. The waiting is not about keeping you from something good. It's about making sure that when you step into it, you don't just survive, you thrive. Think about Joseph in the Bible. As a young man, God gave him a dream that he would one day be in a position of great leadership. But before that dream came to pass, Joseph went through years of difficulty, betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, thrown into prison. If you look at it in the natural, you'd think, what a waste of time. Why did he have to go through all of that? But the truth is, every step of Joseph's journey was preparing him for what was ahead. Had he gone straight from the dream to the throne, he wouldn't have been ready. He needed to learn leadership skills in Potiphar's house. He needed to develop integrity when no one was watching. He needed to learn how to handle difficulty without becoming bitter. He needed to grow in wisdom so that when the moment came and he was standing before Pharaoh, he didn't just get the opportunity, he was able to maximize it. What looked like wasted years were actually the most important years because they prepared him for what God was about to do. The same is true for you. You may be wondering why it's taking so long. You may feel like you've been overlooked, like nothing is working out in your favor. But what you can't see is that God is getting you ready. The doors that haven't opened yet aren't because He's forgotten about you. It's because He's still working behind the scenes, making sure that when He does open that door, you're able to walk through it with confidence and wisdom. Sometimes we're so focused on the destination that we forget the importance of the journey. But the journey is where we grow, where we develop, where we become who we need to be to handle the blessing. If you were given the opportunity too soon, it wouldn't be a blessing that could become a burden. That's why God allows the waiting, not to frustrate you, not to hold you back, but to strengthen you, to equip you, to make sure that when you step into what He has for you, you can carry it with grace, with confidence, and with wisdom. Maybe you've been believing for a relationship to happen and you're wondering why it's taking so long. Could it be that God is still preparing you? That He's still shaping you into the person you need to be for that relationship to thrive? Maybe you're believing for that promotion, but the reason it hasn't come yet is because there are still things God needs to develop in you: leadership skills, patience, the ability to handle pressure. Instead of getting discouraged in the waiting, shift your perspective. Say, God, I may not understand why it's taking this long, but I trust that you're preparing me. I trust that you're getting me ready. I know that when the time is right, nothing will be able to stop what you've planned for me. When you have that kind of attitude, you can wait with confidence. You can keep being faithful, keep doing the right thing, keep showing up, knowing that your waiting is not in vain. Every day that passes is one step closer to the breakthrough. Every challenge you face is shaping you. Every delay is developing you. And when God says, now is the time, you're not just going to step into the blessing, you're going to be able to handle it, sustain it, and flourish in it. So don't despise the waiting. Don't get discouraged because it's taking longer than you thought. Know that God is up to something. He's preparing you for something greater than you can imagine. And when the shift comes, when the breakthrough happens, you'll look back and say, Lord, now I see why I had to wait. Now I see why you took your time. Thank you for preparing me. I want to remind you today that when God says now, no force can stop it. No delay, no opposition, no setback can keep you from what He has already planned. Some of you have been waiting, believing, trusting, and it feels like nothing is happening. But what you don't realize is that God has already set the appointed time for your breakthrough. And when that time comes, nothing and no one can stand in the way. It's easy to look at the obstacles, at the circumstances, and think, this is too big, the medical report is too bad, the financial struggle is too deep, the dream is too far out of reach. But when God speaks, everything changes. What looked impossible suddenly becomes possible. What seemed permanent suddenly turns around. What was delayed for years suddenly happens in an instant. Think about the story of the Israelites. For 400 years they were in slavery. They prayed, they cried out to God, they did everything they knew to do, but year after year, nothing changed. It seemed like they were stuck, but one night everything shifted. One moment they were slaves, the next they were walking out free. What happened? God said, now is the time. And when He declared it, not even Pharaoh, the most powerful man in the world, could stop them from being set free. That's how God works. You may feel like you've been in a season of waiting for a long time, but let me encourage you, when your time comes, it's going to happen so fast. It'll make your head spin. The sickness that's been lingering for years, suddenly it's gone. The door that's been shut for a decade, suddenly it swings wide open. The opportunity that seemed out of reach, suddenly it's right in front of you. The enemy wants you to believe that it's always going to be this way, that you'll always struggle, always be single, always be overlooked. But God has the final say. And when He declares, now is the time, all the forces of darkness cannot hold back His plan for your life. You may not see anything changing, but behind the scenes, things are shifting. People are being positioned. Contracts are being written. Healing is being released. Doors are being prepared to open. Think about Lazarus. He had been dead for 4 days. In the natural, there was no hope. But when Jesus walked to the tomb and said, Lazarus, come forth, death had to let go. The grave had to open. The power of God overruled the impossible. And Lazarus walked out of that tomb, alive, restored, completely healed. That same power is working in your life right now. You may not see it yet, but God is about to speak to your situation. He's about to declare, now is the time. And when He does, nothing can hold you back. The depression has to leave. The anxiety has to break. The addiction has to let go. That legal situation that's been dragging on, the job offer that's been delayed, the promotion that's been withheld, when God says it's time, it's time. You don't have to figure out how it's going to happen. You don't have to manipulate the situation, try to force things or stress over the details. Your job is to stay in faith, to keep trusting, to keep believing, because the moment God speaks, things will shift in your favor. Look at Sarah. She was 90 years old, way past the age of having children, but God had given her a promise. And even though it took years, when the time was right, she gave birth to Isaac. The Bible says at the appointed time, Sarah conceived. Notice, it wasn't on her time. It wasn't when she thought it would happen. It was when God ordained it. And when that moment came, no age, no biological limitation, no obstacle could stop the promise from coming to pass. That's what I want you to get down in your spirit today. You may have been waiting a long time, but your appointed time is coming. God has already set the date. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And when that moment comes, you're not going to have to struggle, beg, or force it to happen. It will happen effortlessly, suddenly, beyond what you imagine. The people who overlooked you, they're going to see you promoted. The ones who said it would never happen, they're going to watch you walk into your destiny. The sickness that was supposed to take you out, you're going to stand in front of the doctors, healed, whole, a walking testimony of God's power. Don't let the waiting discourage you. Don't let the delays make you give up. The enemy may have tried to convince you that it's never going to happen, but I came to tell you, today God has already spoken. The shift is coming. The breakthrough is near. And when He says, now nothing can stop it, I want to remind you today that you are stepping into accelerated favor. What should have taken years, God is going to do in a fraction of the time. What looked impossible, what seemed too far out of reach, is going to happen quicker than you imagined. You may have been waiting, struggling, doing your best to stay faithful, and it feels like things are moving at a snail's pace. But I believe you are stepping into a season where God is going to speed things up. The delays are over, the detours are coming to an end, and you're about to see doors open, prayers answered, and opportunities come that you never saw coming. Sometimes in life it feels like we are stuck in slow motion. We work hard, we pray, we believe, but nothing seems to change. The business isn't growing, the promotion isn't coming, the healing isn't manifesting, but God is a God of suddenlies. He knows how to make things happen in an instant. You may think it's going to take 5 years to pay off that debt, but suddenly a blessing comes, a contract is signed, an unexpected source of income shows up, and you're out of debt in 5 months. You may have been told it's going to take years to recover from that illness, but suddenly the test results change, the treatment works faster than expected, and you're healed in record time. God is not limited by natural time. He doesn't have to follow the normal process. He's a supernatural God. He can take what looks like a lifetime and do it in a moment. The promotion that seemed far away, the dream that looked impossible, the relationship that seemed broken beyond repair, God can turn it around in an instant. That's accelerated favor. Think about how long it normally takes for a person to be promoted in their job. You start at the bottom, work your way up, gain experience, build connections, and over time, if everything goes well, you might move into a higher position. That's the natural process. But when God breathes on your life, He can skip steps. He can move you from the back to the front, from overlooked to center stage, from struggling to thriving in a moment. Look at David. He was out in the fields, tending sheep, minding his own business. He wasn't applying for a new position. He wasn't trying to be noticed. But when the time was right, God sent the prophet Samuel to anoint him as king. One moment he was a shepherd, the next he was chosen to lead a nation. That's the power of accelerated favor. Joseph experienced the same thing. He was in prison, forgotten, looked over, spending years waiting for his dream to come to pass. But in one day, everything changed. Pharaoh had a dream. Joseph was called to interpret it, and before he knew it, he was second in command over all of Egypt. Years of waiting, years of struggle. But when the time was right, God didn't just bring him out, He promoted him in an instant. Some of you have been waiting, wondering when it's going to happen. It feels like everybody else is getting ahead, like the door is never going to open, like you're always going to be behind. But I declare today that God is about to accelerate things in your life. What should take years is going to take months. What should take months is going to take weeks. He's speeding things up. He's bringing the right people across your path. He's opening doors you never imagined. You don't have to figure out how it's going to happen. You don't have to stress about the details. Your job is to stay faithful, to keep honoring God, to keep doing the right thing. When the time is right, He's going to catapult you forward. You're going to step into a new season of divine acceleration where favor, increase, and breakthroughs come quicker than you ever thought possible. Don't be discouraged if things have been slow. Don't get weary in the waiting. God is setting you up for a shift. What's taken years to come together, you're about to see fall into place. The dreams you thought would take a decade, God is going to bring them to pass in record time. The restoration you thought would never happen, God is going to do it suddenly. You are stepping into a time of accelerated favor where God is going to fast track His blessings in your life. Get ready, because it's coming quicker than you think. You may have been in a long season of waiting where it felt like every door was closed, every effort was blocked, and every opportunity slipped through your fingers. You prayed, you believed, you stood in faith, but it seemed like nothing was changing. You may have even started to wonder, did God forget about me? Did I miss my moment? Is this just how my life is going to be? But I want to encourage you today, when God declares that the waiting is over, things will shift suddenly. What seemed like a permanent delay will be broken, and what you've been believing for will happen quicker than you expected. God does not put us in a waiting season to frustrate us or to hold us back. He does it to prepare us, to strengthen us, and to set us up for something greater than we could have imagined. And when the time is right, when we are ready and everything is in place, He moves in a way that takes us further, faster than we ever could have on our own. You may feel like you've been stuck for years, like nothing has worked out in your favor, but I declare to you today, your time has come. The delay is breaking. The struggle is ending. The shift is happening right now. Look at the Israelites. They were in slavery for 400 years, crying out to God, waiting for deliverance. It looked like nothing was happening. One Pharaoh came and went, then another, and they were still stuck. But one night God spoke and said, "This is the night of your deliverance." And after centuries of waiting, in a single moment, they were set free. What seemed impossible for generations changed in an instant. That's how God works. When He says it's time, everything aligns. The right people show up. The resources appear. The opportunities come looking for you. You don't have to chase them down. You don't have to struggle to make things happen. God will open the door so fast that it will make your head spin. Some of you have been praying for a breakthrough in your health. You've heard the doctors say it's going to be a long process, that the treatment will take years, that the chances of recovery are low. But God is saying, the waiting is over. Healing is coming now. You're going to see a shift. The symptoms are going to disappear. The reports are going to change. And what was supposed to take years is going to turn around in weeks. Some of you have been waiting for restoration in your family, believing for a loved one to change. for a broken relationship to be healed. It's felt like nothing is moving, like the situation is stuck. But I hear God saying, the waiting is over. I'm restoring what was lost, mending what was broken, and bringing unity where there was division. The phone call is coming. The apology is happening. The relationship that seemed beyond repair is going to be renewed stronger than ever. And some of you have been waiting for doors to open in your career, in your finances, in your dreams. You've been faithful, you've worked hard, you've trusted God, but it's felt like you've been stuck in the same place, like you've been overlooked and passed by. But I declare today that God is shifting things in your favor. He is speaking to the right people about you. He is putting your name in the minds of those who have the power to open doors. He is accelerating the process, bringing promotions, contracts, and opportunities that you didn't see coming. When God says the waiting is over, what took years is suddenly completed in a moment. What seemed impossible suddenly becomes possible. Just like Joseph, who went from the prison to the palace in one day, just like David, who went from the shepherd's field to the throne in an instant, you are stepping into a divine shift where things are going to fall into place faster than you expected. It's not going to be a struggle. You're not going to have to force it. God is going to move in a way that makes it clear it wasn't you, it wasn't your connections, it wasn't luck. It was His favor, His power, and His perfect timing. The doors that wouldn't open before are going to open on their own. The people who ignored you before are going to start calling. The opportunities that passed you by before are going to show up and say, we need you now. So get ready. Get your faith up. Prepare your heart. Because God is saying, the waiting is over. The shift has begun. The season of delay is behind you, and the season of acceleration is here. It's time to step into everything He has prepared for you. You've been faithful. You've prayed. You've believed. You've stood your ground, and you've done everything you know to do, but for a long time it felt like nothing was happening. The doors weren't opening, the situation wasn't changing, and the promises seemed far off. You've watched others step into their breakthroughs. You've celebrated their victories. But deep down, you've wondered, when is it going to be my turn? When is my time coming? I want to encourage you today, your time is now. What you've been believing for is closer than you think. What you've been waiting on is about to show up. You're not going to have to wait much longer because the shift is already happening. Things are already aligning, doors are already unlocking, and what looked like it would take years is going to happen suddenly. Think about a woman who is 9 months pregnant. For months, she carries that baby, feeling the weight of it, enduring the discomfort, waiting for the moment when she will finally hold the promise in her arms. There are times when it feels like it's never going to happen. The waiting seems long, the process is tiring, but when the appointed time comes, she doesn't have to force the birth things start moving naturally. The signs appear, the labor begins, and before she knows it, what she has carried for so long is finally in her arms. That's where you are right now. You have been carrying a promise, carrying a vision, carrying a dream, and for so long it felt like nothing was shifting. But now the labor pains have started. That's why you've been feeling unsettled. That's why you've been sensing that something is about to change. That's why the old ways aren't satisfying anymore, because you're on the verge of birthing what God has placed inside of you. You may not see all the details yet. You may not know exactly how it's going to happen. But one thing is certain, the appointed time has arrived. What you've been believing for, praying for, waiting for, it's about to manifest. That contract, that promotion, that relationship, that healing gets already in motion. God is saying, get ready. Your waiting season is over. It's time for the delivery of what I've promised you. This is not the time to get discouraged. This is not the time to give up. When a woman is about to give birth, she doesn't quit in the final moments because it's too hard. No, she keeps pushing because she knows she's just a few moments away from holding her promise. And I want to tell you today, keep pushing. You're closer than you think. You may feel tired, you may feel weary, but this is not the time to stop. You've come too far to quit now. Look at Joseph. He had a dream, a vision from God that he would be in a position of influence and leadership. But instead of things happening immediately, he went through years of struggle. He was betrayed by his brothers, sold into slavery, falsely accused, and thrown into prison. It looked like the dream would never come to pass. But what Joseph didn't realize was that his appointed time was set. And when that moment came, in a single day, everything changed. He went from the prison to the palace in one move. That's how quickly things can shift when your time has come. It may have felt like you were stuck, like nothing was happening, but when God says it's time, things will move at a speed that will amaze you. That contract that's been sitting on someone's desk for months, suddenly it's approved. That business idea that's been struggling to get off the ground, suddenly it takes off. That healing you've been waiting for, suddenly the symptoms disappear. God doesn't just fulfill prophecy. He does it in such a way that it leaves no doubt that His hand was in it. The timing will be perfect. The doors will open effortlessly. The connections will be divine. You won't have to manipulate things. You won't have to strive. You'll step into what was already yours. The Bible says in Habakkuk 2-3, the vision is yet for an appointed time. Though it tarries, wait for it will surely come. It will not delay. That means what God has promised you has a set time. It may have looked delayed, but in God's calendar is right on schedule, and now that schedule has arrived. So get ready. Get your heart ready. Get your faith ready. Get your expectation up, because your time is not coming. Your time is here. The waiting season is over. The breakthrough has begun. What you have carried inside of you for so long is about to be birthed into reality, and you're about to step into a level of blessing, favor, and opportunity like never before. There are moments in life when you can feel something shifting. You may not see it yet, but deep inside, you sense that things are changing. You know that the struggle you've been facing is not permanent, that the doors that seem locked are about to open, that the season of waiting is coming to an end. God is saying to you today, get ready, because what I have spoken over your life is about to come to pass. The delay is over, the struggle is ending, and you are stepping into a divine shift. For too long, it may have felt like nothing was happening. You've prayed, you've believed, and you've stayed faithful, but it seemed like the answers were delayed. You saw others stepping into their breakthroughs, and you wondered, God, when is it going to be my turn? But I want you to know that just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it's not coming. Sometimes God is working behind the scenes, aligning things, preparing people, setting up situations so that when the shift happens, everything will be in place. When a seed is planted for a long time, nothing is visible. The ground looks the same. Nothing seems to be happening. But under the surface, the seed is breaking open. Roots are spreading, and life is forming. Then suddenly, at the right time, the seed pushes through the soil, and what was hidden becomes visible. That's what's happening in your life right now. You may not see the full picture yet, but beneath the surface, things are shifting, and you're about to step into what God has promised. Think about the story of Esther. She was just an ordinary young woman living her life, not realizing that God was positioning her for something greater. For a long time, it seemed like nothing significant was happening, but suddenly she was placed in the palace. Suddenly she found herself in a position of influence. Suddenly she became the answer to saving an entire nation. Her shift happened quickly, but it had been in the making all along. That's how God works. It may look like nothing is changing, but behind the scenes, He is orchestrating things in your favor. The right people are being positioned. The right opportunities are being arranged. The right doors are being prepared to open at just the right time. And when that time comes, things will shift so fast that you won't even have time to figure it all out. You'll just step into it. Some of you have been feeling stuck, like you've been waiting forever for things to fall into place. You've been faithful in the process, doing your best, but it seems like nothing is moving. But I want you to know that God has not forgotten you. The enemy would love for you to believe that your prayers are unheard, that your dreams are too far gone, that your situation is never going to change. But the devil is a liar. Your shift is already happening, and what's coming is greater than anything you've imagined. This is not the time to give up. This is not the time to lose hope. You are closer than you think. The breakthrough you've been waiting for is right around the corner. The phone call, the opportunity, the healing, the restoration, it's on the way. You may feel like you've been in a holding pattern, but God is saying, get ready because I am about to do something new. The waiting season is over and the time for acceleration has come. Think about Joseph. He was in prison, forgotten, overlooked. For years it seemed like nothing was changing, but then in a single day he was pulled from the prison and placed in the palace. He didn't have time to plan. He didn't have time to prepare. He just had to be ready to step into it. That's what happens when God shifts things. One moment, everything looks the same. And the next, everything has changed. God is saying to you today, I have seen your faithfulness. I have seen your tears. I have seen your struggles. But now I am shifting things in your favor. I am opening doors that no man can shut. I am positioning you for blessings that are beyond your imagination. The delay is over. The struggle is breaking. Your time has come. So get ready. Get your heart ready. Get your mind ready. Because when God moves, you don't want to be caught unprepared. You don't want to still be thinking like you're in the waiting season when the breakthrough has already arrived. You don't want to be looking back when God is calling you forward. This is your moment. This is your time. The shift is here and you are stepping into something greater than you ever dreamed. You have been faithful. You have stood strong, believing for the promises of God. You have endured seasons of waiting, times of uncertainty, and moments when it seemed like nothing was changing. You've seen others receive their breakthroughs. And while you've celebrated with them, deep inside you've wondered, when is it going to be my time? When will my situation turn around? When will I step into the favor, the blessing, the opportunity that I know God has for me? I came to tell you today, your time is now. The season of waiting is over. The shift has begun, and what you have been believing for is about to manifest. You may not see it yet, but don't let that fool you. Things are already moving in your favor. What seemed impossible is being made possible. What was delayed is being released. What was stuck is being set in motion. Sometimes God will let us go through seasons where it looks like nothing is happening, where it seems like every door is closed, where we feel forgotten. But those seasons are not wasted. Those times of waiting are times of preparation. When you feel like nothing is changing, that's when God is working behind the scenes, putting everything in place. You are not being overlooked. You are being positioned. You are not being delayed. You are being developed. God is getting everything ready so that when He opens the door, you won't just walk into it. You will be ready to step into it with confidence, wisdom, and strength. Think about David. When the prophet Samuel came to his house to anoint the next king, David wasn't even considered. His own family left him out in the field thinking he wasn't the one. But what they didn't realize was that God had already chosen him. It didn't matter who overlooked him, who doubted him, or who didn't see his potential. God had already set him apart. Maybe you felt forgotten. Maybe it seems like people have passed you by, that opportunities have skipped over you, that you've been stuck in the same place while others moved ahead. But I want you to know, just like David, you are not forgotten. You have been set apart for something special. And just like David, when the time is right, nothing and no one can stop what God has ordained for your life. David went back to the fields after being anointed. He didn't step into the throne immediately. He still had to wait, still had to fight battles, still had to walk through challenges. But when the shift came, it happened suddenly. One day he was a shepherd boy, and the next he was a giant slayer. One day he was in the fields, and the next he was in the palace. That's how God moves. It may take years of preparation, but when the time comes, the breakthrough happens suddenly. That's what's about to happen for you. The years of faithfulness, the years of trusting God, even when you didn't understand, the years of standing firm when it would have been easier to quit it, has all been leading up to this moment. You may not see it yet, but you are on the verge of a divine shift. God has already spoken it. He has already declared it. And when He says it's time, nothing can hold it back. The struggle you've been facing is about to break. The financial hardship, the closed doors, the missed opportunities, they are about to turn around. The people who didn't notice you before are going to start looking for you. The doors that wouldn't open before are going to swing wide. The favor that seemed distant is about to flood your life. This is not just another season. This is not just another step forward. This is a divine shift, a moment when God accelerates what He has promised, when He makes things happen faster than you thought possible. What should have taken years is going to happen in months. What you thought was far off is going to be in your hands sooner than expected. Get ready. Get your faith up. Get your heart in position, because when the shift happens, you won't have time to prepare. You will have to be ready to step into it. You won't have time to second guess, to hesitate, to wonder if it's really for you. When the opportunity comes, when the favor shows up, when the breakthrough is at your doorstep, you have to be ready to walk through the door without fear, without doubt, without delay. God has already aligned the right people, the right connections, the right opportunities. He has already positioned everything perfectly for this moment, and now the waiting is over. The shift has begun. The time you've been praying for, believing for, standing in faith for, it's here. Now is the moment to step into everything God has prepared for you. I want you to declare today, my waiting is over. The shift is here. The breakthrough is now. Get ready. God is about to do something in your life that will leave you in awe. Favor is coming. Healing is coming. Increase is coming. Get ready for a major shift. Amen.